for the date? 16th. January 16th, 2024. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have three items, special recognitions and presentations, but I believe all three are being pushed to a date that we don't have snow outside. So we'll put those on a future meeting. So that brings us up to delegations. We have one speaker, Valerie Nicholas. Over there, yeah. You have 5 minutes.
Forgive me, I haven't done this since I've been in college, talk in front of people, so I'm kind of glad ain't nobody here. Okay, my name is Valerie Nicholas Littles, and I'm a parent of a special education student with an active IEP and behavior intervention plan. I want to start by admiring Susan Miller, Pam Knight, Miss Stetler, and Julie Mancini, whom I admire for their compassion that they have had with my son and I, as just a few years ago, I didn't have such a compassion. I didn't receive such a compassion given by Manchin, Fisher, and DeRico. These ladies are familiar with my son, and they do try to help me with questions and concerns when they can. Now, a brief reminder, just so you're aware, my son was wrongfully removed from school during 7th or 8th grade year at WI with his IEP was violated, which led me to a successful due process pro se, which means I advocated for my son alone against the school attorney and won, and settled a civil rights case. But the emotional damage was already done, so really no one won. My son and I both struggled to trust the school system again. Not long after trying emotionally to heal after the whole scenario, my son, that then 13, was attacked on school property in a parking lot at RCB volleyball tournament. And there was a game by an officer who lived on school property and wasn't even an active PRO. I assume the school paid for the home he lived in and the bills, but that's uncertain. But just because my son walked through the yard, which is school property, he was tackled down on concrete parking lot in front of folks leaving the game, placed in a headlock and handcuffed, and taken to a local precinct. Now my son struggles not only to trust his teachers, but law enforcement too. Now that's a lot to heal from. But now the struggle is with my son, whom suffers a dual diagnosis of ADHD and ODD. He's being targeted, for instance. He'll walk down the hallway at school with other kids, and the F-bomb comes out, and it's automatically my son. Excuse me. My son and others with disabilities are being excessively disciplined. My son alone has over 40 write-ups, and the write-ups are one-sided. There's nothing there given my son's side of events. And the school, I think the school's motto is what the teacher wrote is true. And these write-ups stay with him. They make him out to be a monster, a racist, a sexist. Is that what the school wants to do? I'm uncertain, but my son has teachers who do well with him, and he hardly has any write-ups in their classes. And other teachers who tend to egg my son on, which is not helpful at all, causing him to react, which links back to his oppositional defiant disorder. And no, my son has all the potential to make good grades in a regular classroom. He is intelligent, and if he ever gets to be in the classroom and not in trouble, because it seems students have such a diagnosis and an IEP struggle to seem they get stuck in isolation, which that is what I call in-school suspension. So because my son is impulsive and becomes verbally defiant to any form of authority, he gets days upon days in isolation. This is not only discriminatory to those with special needs, but harmful to providing a free and appropriate education, as my son doesn't get the same interaction and learning experience in ISS, isolation, as he would in a class learning. And because of this, a child with an IEP is failing my son. Now, I know of friends, kids who don't have an IEP that get in trouble and get 10 days lunch detention. Wow, wouldn't that be much better than all day of missing interaction with other students? So as of now, because my son's behavior intervention plan isn't followed or isn't working, his disability causes him to be impulsive at times. And then some teachers don't know how to control it if they punish him. I feel they are punishing children with special needs excessively. So I'm asking you to consider adjusting the tier regulations of the discipline for children who struggle just a little bit more than those without a disability. Sorry. I understand that you want it to be fairly disciplined for all students, so those who don't have a disability don't complain that special needs students get away with light discipline. But as of now, it's discriminatory towards kids who have a disability, to have harsh discipline for issues that stem from their disability. So I'm asking you to please consider fixing this issue so that it is fair for children with special needs, so they can have a fair chance to learn in the same environment as others and not constantly rode up and stuck in isolation. Thank you.
Brings us down to item 5, superintendent's update. Stephanie.
Sure, we have a few things. We had some things canceled today as well. We were supposed to have our ESSER monitoring and ESSA monitoring. They were coming up from Charleston. And they have changed that to, I believe, Monday. And they'll be here most of the morning with us, I believe, next Monday. Or I would have had a report on how that went. We're in the middle of having our audit, our yearly audit from Tetrick and Bartlett. I think that's still going on. They need to come back another day, yeah, like at the end of the month. What do we have going on with facilities? Jimmy, anything?
Well, facility, maintenance is been doing some work over at Bridgeport and some other necessary things, mainly, putting out fires of things that, especially with kids not in school today, preventative, stuff and stuff that the state sends for us to have to do. But I will tell you, if I could talk about transportation.
I had it right next, transportation.
I have a building question.
Okay,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I just want to ask you, just so the public knows, even though there's not much public here, we had some repairs being done to the roof of Liberty, correct?
We are redoing the entire roof at Liberty.
Right, and with that, there are some bricks that need replaced with that,
Yeah,
correct?
the wall, it's called a parapet wall, and it basically was crumbling.
Right.
The mortar and the.
So with that, we had to take a lettering off that said Liberty,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So it wasn't that we took the lettering off there or anything other than the fact that it has to be taken off and then replaced
Absolutely,
after the brickwork is done,
absolutely.
correct? I
Yep.
just want to get that on the record.
Transportation.
Okay, well, we had talked last meeting about the EPA Round 2 grant. The state was awarded, and the state I think there's about 9 counties that were involved, and it was for a total of 69 buses, electric buses. We were, through the APA, all those counties received 47. We're one of the counties definitely receiving a bus or multiple buses. We had put in for 5, and it was funded at about a 68%. And so if it's equitable, we'll get maybe 3. But we go down the 23rd. I'm not sure who all needs to come down. Of course, the superintendent obviously is invited. But it's down at Green Power Motors on the January the 23rd at 10 o'clock. And we'll find out more information about it.
Great.
And we have 2 more drivers being hired.
Oh.
2 drivers.
Yeah,
Big news for us.
We got the message about the buses right after we didn't get in the first round. That message came like the next morning. I think it might have been right after our meeting that we may be getting another bus, so, or an electric bus.
Yeah.
Two or
There's
three.
actually one, the state is, they have a grant now where they have ordered for 39 buses to be built. I think we're in line to get one of those too. So we're going to apply for that as well, which would be another electric bus. And again, that may be the wave of the future, and I'm there's pros and cons, but from a standpoint that it adds to your fleet value is pretty significant. And I think we can strategically place these buses and they'll perform extremely well. It's not that you don't have the flexibility that you would in just a regular gas or diesel bus. However, they're free. And I think that they'll do the job.
That's key word.
It's always good.
The price of electric doesn't fluctuate as much as the price of diesel.
Yeah.
That's true.
And it's cleaner. So, it's going to be the wave of the future. There's still a long way to go with infrastructure, and that's where.
I think that's what they'll talk about on the 23rd, correct?
Yeah, I think that's going
What
to
we
be
have to do on our end
correct.
to receive those buses.
We have the facility we don't not going to have to upgrade our facility. to be able to place the level 3 chargers, because we, up at Gore by the new elementary school, we have already upgraded that. So we'll be in good shape there, where a lot of counties aren't in that position. So we'll find out a little more about the fast charge and how much they're going to cost and that type of thing. There were some things tied into that grant that we'll have cleared up.
So the only monies that we'll really have to put out as a county will be just for the upgrade of the charger? Is that?
That is correct. And the good news is the state, actually, that will be reimbursable through the state. I think we're at an 89% reimbursement. So now there's a 1-year lag on that.
Would the charging stations add to the value of the fleet?
No,
Not considered part of
I don't think they are. But it is reimbursable. So overall, it's a win-win for us. And the good thing, we did the pilot, and I think that gave us the opportunity to be a little more, we kind of understand what it's going to take to be able to place them on routes where we can locate them.
The only other thing, well, we have a UTC update here in a minute, but I believe you have the new financial for, I think it's for December. Did you all get one of those? Did you have anything you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to let you know that this is the format that's compliant with the state code, with what you should be getting each month. I'll try to have it to you by the second meeting each month. for this one. The big change is the addition on page 2 when you flip it over. We're supposed to give you all the bank account balances, receipts and disbursements. So we have that. Now, I like to go back and compare it for the prior year. I have that information. Next year.
Starting fresh.
the actual balance.
They have been helped well, the monitoring that we were having for ESSER, they were coming today because the needs assistance, and so they're coming down and doing a full day, most of the day with us. So we do appreciate the state helping in that sense, just to give us an idea. We're going to look at the whole strategic plan moving forward, how to do a comprehensive strategic plan for the county. So we've always had a strategic plan, but I think it's not been a comprehensive one. So that's what we're working on, moving forward. And then I think Mr. Hogue has the UTC update.
Yeah, at they had a special recognition award to the new UTC. It's called the Mega Corp Representatives. I believe there was 5 or 6 that were selected to be on this group of Mega Corp representatives. And then the director also gave an enrollment update, and they had 13 kids who failed. They had 2 who chose not to return for the second semester, and they also had 2 adults that dropped out of the program. So anyway, that's where they stand. That was, a little surprise that they had. That he said, some of them kids down there decided they wasn't going to do any work, wasn't going to do anything. So 13 of them failed out down there. So for the semester. So anyway.
Did you have any programs they were in? Which programs they were in? Did you
Which ones
mention
for
the
the
ones
Mega?
that they failed?
Which
Which
no,
programs?
but I can find that out.
Hey, if you have the whole packet, I didn't bring that. It has like minus the ones where they lost students
Oh, okay.
on one of the pages. I think 2 of them are in the nursing program. See the one?
All right, here it is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't show, all it shows is the schools, Bridgeport minus 2,
It doesn't show the program.
no, Doddridge County,
Oh, okay. I
no,
was just curious.
Taylor County
which
had
programs
one.
they were.
Yeah, can we get someone call the tech center and get us basically all the programs and how many students are enrolled in each program. Do you have?
Well, they have it here. They-
Yeah, if you can get us each one of those, I'd like to see which programs,
Okay. Let me see.
how many students in each program.
That's unusual.
I think the electrical
That many
program's
to
got
fail,
the most.
because they wouldn't be there.
Okay, here it is. Robotics.
They were all in the same-
Robotics has 13, law enforcement has 21, collision repair has 25, auto mechanics is 24, carpentry is 14, cosmetology is 74, medical assisting is 31, drafting has 16, electricity is 37, health occupations 23, computer systems 16, machine shop 6, masonry 11, and this one word here, something robot, FANUC, has 7, power sport has 24, and welding has 40. So, total enrollment 382.
Do you have how many are Harrison County?
78. 378,
Hmm.
right? Now it'll be 378. Is that before that's good?
I think Taylor has
13
about
things.
45.
Four of them.
We're the majority, but,
Yeah, I think they have
students and
25 or
two
26, Doddridge. He doesn't have
Dodge,
regular.
yeah, Dodge don't have.
So we're, I mean, we're.
Because they have their own, they
More
built
than
their own.
75% of.
Yeah.
So,
You pay 100%.
Yeah, and that's, I think, and I've even talked this, I think there's going to be a push in this legislative session to move from multi-county back to the county. I think there's that push is to bring some of those back into the county.
Into the high schools.
Into the high schools, so I think they're going to move away. And I'm not a huge proponent of multi-county because there's always one county, which is us, that puts most of the bill, but we always get outvoted. There's six votes there, and the 4 from 2 other counties are always going to outvote us. If it comes down to that, it's happened many times. I've been chastised by other counties for saying that, but, I mean, we used to have
So
to,
that's what it is.
well, we used to, when I first started on this board, I remember being taken to task by the superintendent in Taylor County at the time in their board meeting because I didn't think it was right that we waited, or that we were told to wait on our calendar until they had theirs from the other 2 counties first. So we couldn't do our calendar, even though we're the largest of the counties. They wanted us to hold off and wait because of the tech center. And we were drafting our calendars at that time around the tech center rather than them drafting theirs around us.
But now that's totally changed.
Right,
The
they're
tech
doing it
center,
around
the
us.
tech center is.
Back then it
building
was,
around us.
we were told when we were voting on that calendar, we can't go with these 2 options because the tech center has already picked theirs and Taylor and Doddridge are using that, so we have to do that. And I took umbrage to that because I thought it should have been the other way around. They should have waited for us and then developed their calendar, but they didn't see it.
But it's going the opposite way
Right,
now.
now it has.
And, has the last year. I mean, really, I think all 3 counties, superintendents and everybody on the board get along very well and.
I have no problem with that. And we're always going to be outvoted if push comes to shove. My bigger issue also is, and I had that same issue when just from there to downtown, is I don't know why we're putting kids on the road after you put them on the road to get to their school and then you're putting them back on the road to send them to a whole different county. There's a lot of lost instruction time and a lot of possibility of anything happening when you
How
put
many
kids out on the road.
And how many from Taylor County did you have?
It doesn't really
How many
say.
buses do we run? Do you think they run from Doddridge and Taylor?
I think they
One.
just run, they won,
One.
one in the morning, one in
One.
the afternoon each.
One.
One from Taylor, one.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
from Doddridge.
We have 5 supplemental ones, each of the high schools.
Yeah, we run
Yeah.
5.
Five, picking up the kids and
You
returning.
just, you want to get them to school and then you get them to school and then you put them on a bus and you take them somewhere else and then you bring them There's a lot of time on the bus from those two counties.
Okay, your question, Mr. Tucker, was, Doddridge County has 16 and Taylor has, well, they call Nebraska, okay, 23.
They get the same.
Yeah, I knew it was a smaller amount.
And we have the rest of the 382.
Uh-huh.
And we have the building.
Repairs.
We own the building.
Do the maintenance.
Okay, that's all.
That's all
I can lay on you tonight.
Okay. Brings us down to consent items, approval consent items. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, out-of-state travel study request. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel study request. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Open enrollment transfers, approvals, and denials. Those seem to be a normal routine thing these days. Is there a motion? Mr. Tucker? Is there a motion?
Did you look, see whether, okay, yes, I'll make a motion, we accept this.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Who's in charge of open enrollment, transfers and all that?
Under the new current rules, we have Jim Kirby involved and Julie. So it's going through a couple different processes. That way Jim can check to make sure, especially if they're coming from out of county, he can vet them. And then I approve them.
That's from out of county.
In county, we can't turn them down if there's space.
Yes. So the rules have all
That's the new
changed.
rule.
In fact, there are.
Anybody can go anywhere?
Yeah, there's.
As long as there's space.
As long as there's
Oh.
capacity.
And we don't have to hire somebody for a specific program for a specific child.
It's completely open.
Isn't there criteria though, sending back?
They've taken
Where
all
they
that
belong?
out. You can't use discipline, attendance, behavior, nothing.
And they're eligible.
So it doesn't
And they're-
matter where they live?
There's space.
They can request to attend any school in the county as long as there's capacity or space. And
We
they
don't
hire
have to bus,
anybody.
we don't have to hire a
This is
bus.
state.
No, they have to bus themselves. I mean, they have to get there. Yeah, it's an open
Yeah,
enrollment.
it's been
It's,
legislature.
that
last
changed.
year. And they're gonna
Last
look,
year.
they're gonna look at it again this year because it affected sport.
Oh.
But with that, you can immediately start playing, and
No
then
matter in or out.
certain people didn't like the fact that if
There
you
was a
saw.
certain high school in the
Sports.
state that received almost enough students for a whole team.
Yeah, especially in the southern part of the state.
Yes,
I mean,
it really lopsided the.
Once we take them, they're here,
They're
if we take them in
ours.
kindergarten, they're through 12th grade.
then I think it ought to be really scrutinized of these schools.
No matter what, even
It
if,
can't
the-
be.
even
We
if
can't,
the
It
school,
can't be.
we can't.
Unless they're a level
If there's
3 or level
space,
4
you have to
discipline.
take them.
So we have to vet
No matter
those. We check. for
if they go
discipline.
from elementary to middle, if the middle school has overcapacity, we still have to take them, right?
Because we're supposed to be counting on them as
Well,
a
that
way.
feeder area really needs to talk to each other.
That's an example of our legislators that have no idea about education. You get that on the record?
Yeah,
The outside ring.
So this is,
and it wasn't a problem until. it
so this is
affected
going to
Yeah.
be, in the next few years, this is going to be a giant cluster.
Already is.
I mean, it already is, but I
I mean,
mean,
we have a process in place. We have a good process. And if we do deny one, they have a right to appeal.
oh,
And
yeah.
we've only had one
Mhm.
appeal, and the state upheld our appeal, our decision, so. we're
It's a
one for
denial.
one.
I mean, you look at certain,
But we've had.
it was the old, well, my younger child can go there because my oldest child was allowed to go there. My youngest one's grandfathered in, automatically grandfathered in. Well, that's what, that's the way it has been. I mean, you can look at some of these streets in some of these neighborhoods. Johnny goes to this school, Mary across the street goes to this school, Susie down the road goes to another school, and the first thing you know, it's you know, how, it's just chaotic. And then all of a sudden, what happens when they decide, well, John is not doing real good here, so I want to send him to this other school. So that means if there's an open space,
They
he,
can only go once a year. Is the rule on the new open enrollment thing. They can only go once a year.
okay,
But they
but
can
then,
always go to their home school.
but on the second
Probably
year,
do,
can they be, do they have to apply every year?
if they went somewhere else. Like if they wanted to go somewhere else, yes. If I wanted to go to WI this year, and I got approved to go there because they have space, then next year I
You
want to
don't have to
go
apply to stay there.
to, right, correct, they stay there. If they want to go to Mountaineer Middle, they'll have to apply. We have to look to see if there's space. But elementary is a little easier because there's a specific number you can have in each class.
Right.
Once you go to middle, it's a little harder to say no. And like we know at Bridgeport High School, they're busting at the seams. So we're trying not to take anybody in that feeder area because we know what's going to happen in 6 years. So we're saying no.
Is
But
there a
that's Jim and I
number,
taking a
like
little bit
when-
of guff from people.
like when you say, they're filled, is there a fill percentage that, because you say you're at 85% capacity. Does that mean, is there a capacity number that we're using as a guide?
Nope, the state is if you are full, which means you have
What's
to be
full?
past your fire marshal capacity,
Yeah.
middle or high.
You have to
That's
look
100%.
at cafeteria.
Yeah, that's-
We know a school is just packed,
Busting.
and their cafeterias full. We're
Sometimes
looking at all of
we
it.
push the envelope a little bit
Yeah.
Mr. Hope,
for what's best for kids.
what this means is, I guess I'm getting, maybe you are too, is if we have an older student smack a younger student, it isn't our county's fault that we can't send that kid back where he belongs to Bridgeport.
We cannot.
Doesn't sound like it.
Unless it's a level 3 or level 4 discipline, we don't have to, but that's what, we don't have to take them. I don't know that we can send them back. But we don't, if someone has a level 3 or 4 in another county, we don't have to take them. Like that's
From an
the,
out
And
county.
that wasn't anything about Bridgeport, it just happens to be,
Yeah.
it's a reality, as you know, situation, so.
But I think it's one, they're going to look at it in the legislature
Yeah.
because, as I said, I think the governor has even said, when he signed the bill at the time,
What a stupid movie.
that, you know, it was unintended consequences, and he's rethinking it, so he's asked the legislature to look at it, mostly from the sports
it is his.
standpoint.
Well, that's the-
Because he lost some of his girls.
Well, and what that does is, you know, he sees it firsthand and says, this
Yeah.
is really
I mean, we
unintended
literally,
consequences.
there are whole teams that have.
Oh, I know. Especially in the Charleston area.
Even for academic
I mean, you look at the
reasons.
programs,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
And
that's
that's-
a little bit.
South Charleston dominated for years, and they
Yeah, that's
they have a
where
hard
it's
time
getting-
getting up enough for a good market.
That's where it's getting the, you know, the traction and the grief is from the sports standpoint, but it's bad all the way around. It's not just from, you know, the sports are gonna bring it to the forefront, but it's just bad for, it's bad for everyone, so.
You know, one of the other unintended consequences is transportation, because if they are out of area, you know, parents have good intentions. They love their kids. They think they can get them where they need to go until they can't. And then they want to know where the closest bus stop is that they can get, that drive their child to,
Right.
which that's just, that's a big problem. And we try to eliminate those. But you know, you also want to get kids to school. And so that that creates a big problem. And, you know, their parents will move and then the next thing you know, they're wanting, well, how can I get my child to school? And they're really upset when they find out that they can't from that area because it's not their area and they're not McKinney-Vento.
Yeah, and we'd have to be running.
Right.
How many buses that.
Right. But with McKinney-Vento, we take care of all those. But those that move out of area and then after they move, they have a hardship, then they want to know how they can get their kids to school in a school bus. You know, it's happened before. Sometimes the drivers don't always know it. And so then there's not a parent to pick up a child on where that location is, and you're calling all over the place trying to get, a parent or taking back. I mean, that's just another unintended consequences. And, we're always we want to make sure we get kids where they need to go. They need to be in school.
It really
And it-
affects those border counties as well.
Yeah.
Easy to come right over if there's a school.
When I was at WI,
Have that-
I got a call one day about this, they said Kenny Vento. I had no clue what Kenny Vento was, and on my, I said, no, I don't have a Kenny Vento in my roster.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
And they says,
for enrollment?
no, they give me a name, I said,
Julie might know.
well,
What's the house?
who's
number?
Kenny Vento? You know,
And the number.
No, it's open enrollment, no, but I do not know the,
Well, I can find out.
yeah, number.
Yeah, so last legislation.
you and Big Jim.
With that, is there any more discussion?
We've lost that battle.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us down to 2024-2025 school calendar proposals. Always my favorite item on any agenda.
There's 3 options on there available. There was also, I think, a correction to the 6-week. There was a breakdown of the 6 weeks.
Option C.
Are we open for,
well, what do we do to?
Well, we need a motion to get it on the floor, unless you have someone who needs to speak to it first.
Do you need to say anything? Pam's been the one working with the committee.
If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer those for you.
Well, since we don't have, we don't need to we'll have open discussion rather than, because if we needed took a motion, someone would have to make a motion for one particular, and I don't know that we're to that point, so let's just,
No, this was just
if you're going to,
discussion.
discuss
So-
it, then.
so the final's not gonna be tonight?
No,
we-
it's not on here for action.
It's okay, it's not an actionable item, so,
Yeah, then let's just.
well, it is an actionable item because it's under new business, so technically it is. We can give some input and then move to table it. Yeah, it is under new business, so it is, I mean, if you want, we should have put it up under presentations, but.
You can suspend the rule and then discuss.
Yeah, we can go ahead and discuss it. Actually, if we, let's remove, if there's no objection, we'll remove it from new business and then place it under superintendent's update and then bring back the superintendent's update to have some free discussion and then place it for action on future meetings. That way you have more, there's some discussion with that. So if you want to open up the discussion on what the 3 are, and then kind of get sort of a feel for what board members or questions are.
I believe the 3 calendars were presented to the
Yes.
board. Well, not presented, but you were given copies
Oh.
to review.
And
And
then I had a request to have another one, we would try to create another calendar where we could put about 90 days in each semester. So I was able to get that done today, so I can distribute that to you.
if you'd like to see.
Yeah,
that.
very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is known as option D.
Yeah, there you go. It's option D.
This here don't have as many, this one don't have as many squares as the other one.
Now, one of the things that you'll notice on that calendar is that the second semester would end January the 10th of 2025 on calendar D.
January 10th.
That's first semester.
How
That
many
would be
days
first
in each
semester.
semester?
There would be 90 days in
90.
each semester, yes, with that.
Clear up to January 10th.
Clear up to January 10th. Now, in looking at that, and I didn't make the change, I left it the way we had it before, with January 2nd and 3rd as being prep days for teachers when they come back from Christmas break, to get ready for second semester. I personally think that if this would be the calendar, then we're going to need to move those 2 days, because having those 2 days for teachers on the second and third is really not going to help them a whole lot. It's not going to help administrators, because they're not going to know who needs to have schedule changes and that sort of thing. So we'd have to bring students back on January 2nd, 2nd and 3rd, then have exams, and then have teachers have 2 days there on January 9th and 10th to prepare for second semester.
So will there be days in the second semester built in? Like snow days or any other days?
Oh, yeah, you'd still have.
We could extend it into June, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
June
part
the
of the
5th
90
would-
ordinance.
June the 5th would be the last OS day that we would have. And then there's an OS day in the calendar second semester on March 14th that we could utilize if we needed to.
And is this evens out the 6 weeks grading periods then?
Every grading period would have 30 days.
30 days?
Mhm.
That's kind of what we've been looking for
Yeah,
a few
but,
years.
That's an early start.
And I think that's one of the directives we gave somebody a few
Dawn
years ago.
mentioned years ago.
15.
That just,
What's students 8:15?
when is school, will school start on the same date?
School would start, teachers would begin on August the 12th. Students would start on August the 19th.
Right, right.
That's only a day earlier than what they came back this year. It just looks different because we've got leap year this year.
Yeah, the biggest thing about making that change that was requested is that the 2 days coming back, you just would have to move them
And we'd
later.
have to move those.
And this is earlier than in the past, years, even years ago, that this semester is over, so. You know, it used to be, what, on about the 20th.
Yeah, the,
Yeah.
that's
The
December,
20th
May
of June.
30th. May 30th.
May 29th would be the last instructional day. Teacher's last day would be May 30th. And graduation could still occur starting May 22nd. That would be the earliest.
I mean, I don't.
What if you left a 1 day coming back from Christmas to extend that maybe holiday and make that the professional learning day? And then move the 1 day to the end of you know what I mean? Semester.
Leave 1 day, leave the 2nd.
Yeah, that would
We could
still
leave
let
the 2nd
students
and
be-
then put another day on the 10th.
You just would.
Have another professional learning day on the 10th. We
then
could do
you could
that.
separate
10th of
them
what?
10th of
If you
January.
wanted to,
So they would have 1 day to get,
so the kids
Everything
weren't
ready.
coming back till the 3rd.
kids would come back on Friday.
Or keep them together.
Or if they came back on Thursday and Friday, they can get their stuff for their exam, whatever, get back into where you're swinging at things, and then move one of those professional learning days down here, is that what you're saying?
That's what I was thinking, or move it.
Back it up.
But see, they're not
Because
gonna
then
get out
exams
until
would
June
actually-
5th.
And
Yeah, and
Exams
then you're gonna
actually
bring it
would be
back
the
on
the
August
following Thursday
or
and
in
Friday.
September.
Yes.
No, they'll be
The
out
9th
the
and the
14th,
10th.
15th even this year.
Yeah, but I mean, then you're gonna bring them back
We'll be
on
taking it.
High
August,
school.
19th, that's when the
High
kids.
school.
that's when the kids come back. But then if you're bringing staff back in on August the 12th, you know, I mean, you're looking into people, family vacations. You know, and the thing is, A lot of people have already made their plans. I mean, I think you're getting gonna get a little kickback there.
The only other one that doesn't have that early start date is calendar B.
Yeah.
And that starts, the students don't start until the 26th of August. Teachers would come back on August 19th, and the students wouldn't start until August 26th, and the last day is instruction for students is June 5th. The later you start, the longer you
Longer it
go.
goes.
That's,
You can't have both of them, you can't have.
Yeah.
And then
Later
start late
rival
and
early
early.
dismissal.
by the way, there is a bill in the legislature to reduce it from 180 to 170.
170 days. That's true.
Yeah, but that,
That
To
won't be for
allow
next
more
year.
prep days.
Unless we have more people farming than ever before, that's not bad. That's what
I
it's
don't
for the summer
know.
vacation.
I think they're
Hey.
trying to get,
Did you think that the transfer would pass?
Well, there you go. They're working on it.
they're trying to get more
Well, they
time built.
Pass the 170 and then change it for next year. You never know. So, like I said, we talked
Is there any-
before, I'm
is there any
for late
calendar?
start.
that kind of splits the difference
But only 170 instructions.
to where they get out the end of May and start,
I mean, to me, I would rather start later. I've always been that way. August 22nd, the calendar B. And I don't think June 5th is too late to get out. No, it's June. It used to always be June.
and
Some of
getting
those
castrated.
Kids may be going that first through the fifth anyway.
Yeah, right, yeah, I mean,
Majority.
right. Not a lot happens that last week, unfortunately.
How did we do it back when we was in school?
You didn't
You have
have
180 days.
You didn't have 180 days.
We just went.
Well-
No requirement to meet the 180.
See, that's because my generation was smarter, didn't take as long to learn all that.
We're actually out this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're
What would
talking
happen if
5
we
days.
split the difference? Split the difference between the 15th and the 22nd?
I mean, any way that you can move it. To me, the 15th is, well, actually, yeah,
Manual.
that's 2, or, I mean, if it was the,
Look through it. Now they say do not eat
That's
batteries.
that one. We do.
Right.
Drink batteries.
And they, listen,
yeah.
because they did it.
So we do.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so
Yeah.
that's-
We did Thanksgiving and
We
and-
do.
and a whole
We
week.
do. Veterans Day.
And
And
I'll-
We also
What
had
if we start
corporal
on the
punishment.
20th?
Exactly, you had them all in school teacher.
Have the two CD
I
or
had teachers
CD
beat my ass every day.
I mean, the-
curriculum development days on that the 15th and the
It's hard to
16th.
believe, change it just a week.
The professional day on Monday, and the kids start on Tuesday, the 20th.
Then they'd say, this is gonna hurt you,
There's-
or it's
it
gonna hurt
really-
me.
There's not a lot of time to get done everything that principals need to do in just 2 or 3 days before school starts, because the teachers want a day in their room.
Right, and I was just thinking, if you put the 2 days, the 2 curriculum development days on the Thursday and Friday, the 15th and the 16th,
Mhm.
then they have the weekend if they wanna like, maybe if they couldn't get everything done. And then Monday be what is the P day?
That's that's the
Prep
prep
day.
day and faculty senate, so
Okay, and then the kids start on the 20th.
makes it hard for principals to get done all of these required trainings that they have to do now. That's the
But
biggest
it's no
thing.
different, it's still 3 days. I'm just putting the weekend in between.
Now there's 5 days.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
5 days now.
We had 4 last year and
You've
couldn't
got
get it all in.
What am I getting, what are these 2 green ones?
Those are professional learning days. The first 2 are curriculum development. Wednesday is the prep and faculty senate.
So when do the kids actually go to
The
class?
kids
On the
19th.
15th?
on the
Oh, the
19th.
19th, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not,
That's
sorry.
on A, you're talking about A, right?
No, I was just looking at D's and looking at these things.
Just the days.
There's 40, well, we know at least one 8-hour training. There's
1, 2, 3.
Teach
So
me-
what, okay, so
it
what
took
if we
me
do
years to
the
learn something, booze and drugs.
curriculum development, the 3 blue
what
days,
do you think?
you're looking here,
public.
the 3 blue days, 14, 15, 16. The professional learning, the 2 green days, 19, 20, and the kids start on the
Hey,
21st.
do we get President's Day off too? next year?
Basically, you're
No matter
just
what
moving
kind
it 3 days, 2 days.
And where are you gonna take it from, though?
Front end, you put, and then you have to just move everything 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I'm looking at,
President's Day?
I want the latest start, August 22nd, like the option B.
For teachers or students?
No, I mean,
Well,
that's,
kids
that
like
was the
teachers work.
students, that's,
Yeah, that's
so
it.
anywhere,
That's it.
Well, I ain't the way it's.
yeah, because I'm looking at the grading,
Everybody's off
whatever.
in work.
Well, that would be-
The option B is August 22nd. I mean, I don't want to go, I really don't want to go
What the hell's the difference?
too early, but, you know,
We had
I'll
47 presidents, we only had one.
defer to the rest of you.
Oh, well then. Option B would be okay as long as we even out the days. We can go.
Option B, yeah.
Now, understand too, with option B, just to let you know, we cannot graduate anybody till after May 29th. You have to have 175 instructional days, so we could not have graduation until May 30th.
That's about what they've been running here.
Isn't that Memorial Day weekend?
No, it's after Memorial Day. Here the past several
This
years.
year, we've
it's
had them like the 25th,
20 this coming,
25th.
this year,
Well,
it's
so that's-
it's
that's-
Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
so now it would be,
before Memorial Day.
Where these go, you can do it with it, oh, wait, but you gotta watch that, and then, oh, you can do that, but you've got this.
Say that one more time. You can't
This year-
graduate, if you start on the 22nd, you can't graduate till when?
May 3rd.
Till May 30th, that's the
Says
first
that
day you can
175
graduate.
days.
Oh, sorry, Gary.
this year our graduations
tried.
are
Yeah, I
starting
know, I
at
just,
20.
I have an issue, I just,
24th.
I've always had an issue with starting too early in August, there are kids that need to work.
Our
Okay, is that
graduations,
too, is that too late for graduation?
our
We waited
graduations
12
this
years
year,
for it.
2020, 24, 25th.
Some longer.
Our graduations this year are starting
It's
May
usually later,
23rd,
Memorial Day
24th.
weekend.
Yeah, but it isn't, well, this one's after, isn't it?
Well, but that's the way that, I
And
mean,
This
that's the way the
year,
weekend falls though, right? It's Friday and Saturday falls, right?
Yeah,
Because, I
Yeah.
mean, if we
early.
can't graduate, yeah, if we can't graduate before the 29th, 30th is a Friday.
yes,
Thursday.
Thursday, no.
No, it's a Friday.
It's a Friday, 30th is a Friday,
yeah,
so.
Well, next year.
Next year, yeah, next year.
yeah.
But that would put us in school until the 12th? No,
To the
because there's
5th.
the OS days, to the 5th.
Fifth, and then
I don't think
most
the
of those
fifth is too
students,
late.
they're not gonna be there. What's that?
I don't think the fifth is too late, it never did.
No, because there's going to be
I don't,
several that
yeah,
aren't in
and
there.
it's just been the last couple years that we've worried about getting it done before June.
This year we started on the 21st.
I thought it was a good start date.
What's a good start date?
I thought this year was a good start date, the 21st, I
We
can live
started on
with
the
that.
20th.
But that was also the week of Labor Day,
No,
wasn't it? Oh, it wasn't. So
But I ain't seen
And
teachers and all that, I
then
have to be up
it's
here on the 12th. And then all that time I was off before the kids start on the 21st, 22nd, I mean.
That gives them.
This is
Well, what's the,
The
I mean,
teacher once,
I don't
it took
think
me
we're ever
5
gonna
minutes
get
in my
decent
classroom.
census. All we need is start about the 20th, 21st, and have equally divided semesters and
End early.
end before June.
Which I always
Yeah.
thought that the
Oh,
spring
just
break
cut out
would be
Christmas.
part
Mr.
of-
Hamry.
That-
like Christmas.
I always thought
Well,
the
listen,
spring break
I
was.
mean, there's a way you could do that.
It's
But wouldn't be popular. There's 3 days you can gain in November, but it's not gonna
Oh,
months.
no.
You're
So
talking
we won't have as much drivers.
So if you.
They go like a
We
turkey.
can kind of contain
But
the,
that would,
If we had a 4-day weekend in those 3 months, we talked about this years ago. Instead of having that spring break like that, February, March, and April, I think if you looked into your discipline situation, you'll find that there's more discipline during those times because of people not getting out, kids not being able to get out or whatever. And if you had a 1 4-day weekend each of those months, instead of your traditional week, and still have the Good Friday or the day after Easter off, I think that settles a lot right there, but.
you think about it.
4-day week for 3 weeks, is that what you're saying?
4-day
Three
week, a
different
month,
4-day weeks.
4-day, oh.
One for,
one a month.
So I thought we tried something similar to that a few years back, where we gave them like a week, Friday off for like 3 or 4 weeks straight, didn't we?
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, that would have, that's been a while back. Yeah.
We did do something.
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
did do
saying that-
something like
that-
that. I can't remember.
I don't know.
I think that helped
We did
with
do
your days
something. I
here.
thought we did.
Yeah, I don't think it went
We
over
did.
very well.
I don't think
think
we
that
did.
helped with your days.
We did do the short
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving.
Oh, I
parents.
think it's great.
4 or 5 years ago, that didn't
That didn't
work. We ended up
Parents
having-
did not.
No, you're gonna take off anyway.
Daycare situation and all
Mr.
that.
Hamrick, were
Yes.
you talking about a later, the 20th of August for teacher start or student start?
Students, right?
He
I mean,
likes,
I went as late as we can possibly
For
do.
kids or
For kids or for
For
teachers?
kids, I mean, for everyone, really,
Oh.
but I went as late as we can.
You asked for a parent vote right now.
And I'm, you know, I'll make no bones
Is that
about
later?
it, is that I have said all along, I mean, we've got,
Finish
you know,
June
we've got to
5th.
be a good
Start
steward
back to
of
school June
Mr.
5th.
Hope. I can't talk when we got too much going on. I just,
But you haven't said
I,
anything important yet.
I mean, the problem is we have to be good stewards of the community as well as everyone. And when we have municipalities that are struggling to keep pools open in our area, and then we're taking the kids out, we're sending them back to school. I mean, those pools and things are important. And what happens is after a few years of losses because they don't have any staffing, because the high school, they're going to close. They're going to be gone. And then we're not going to have any recreation for the kids in the summertime. And then you also have kids that have to work because they need the income for their family, or they're going off to college. And even the ones we don't have in our school system now, they may be working to go to college and they need those extra days. And when things close, and I think John Cooper was here one time and wholeheartedly agreed that it very much puts these small municipalities, even the larger ones like Clarksburg, when you spend, $20 million on a pool and you can only operate it for 2 months out of the year. And I know that's not where we're probably supposed to be looking, but at the same time, we have to be those good stewards, and that is looking out for our students and our teachers. We have teachers that have to, because of the, the pay of teachers, have to have summer jobs. And they're in the same boat as well, that, those summer employment jobs want them there through the month of August, and that makes it difficult. And I know it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, they can start earlier, but, I just would rather start a couple days later and then, be able to, because I think August, we're right in the heat of the summer too. You're putting kids in, on the school buses in August when it's better chance of being 90 in August than it is in June. It's not gonna hit 90 June 5th on our last day of school, but there's a good chance it's gonna be 90 on our first day of school. So that's my thoughts.
So.
can we get graduation in if we bump calendar D 3 days for the teacher start?
Say calendar D.
Yeah, the one we just got. If we move the teachers to start on the 14th or the 15th, or just 2 days, can we make the graduation deadline for the Memorial Day weekend?
I'd have to, in order to tell you precisely, I'd have to plug it into the template to see, because it starts to do all these calculations for you.
Oh,
Yes, they
It'll
leave,
tell you if it.
they leave nothing.
okay, so what would be then, I guess our question then was, would you have to let us know, what would be the latest day the students can start and still be able to graduate Memorial Day weekend?
So that's what you want me to look for.
I think that's.
Okay.
You gotta get us in
But
that
equal amount of
number
days per 6 weeks.
Like a student start at August the
Other than that,
21st.
that's it.
Okay.
Students start August 21st.
I'll work on something like that to see how it
Just
can
have
work
to
out.
see how.
So check options. Did you guys spend a little bit of time looking at option C? Because option C starts on the 19th.
I don't have a problem with
It's
that.
out on the.
It's the odd number of days.
No, I understand. It gets out on the 29th. So that would be out prior to June. And then you would have the opportunity possibly, but that's more Memorial Day weekend, you have the opportunity to possibly do graduation that weekend. Option C. but days are on.
Pretty close because
Can you read
students would
between
start
the
on August 15th either way.
But unless those days can be fixed, I mean, if those days can be fixed, then it won't matter.
Right. Because you're getting that 30th or the, I mean, I'm just.
And there's no waiver on the graduation.
No, wait.
That's what's.
Thursday,
There's waiver for everything.
Why they're so off.
At one time, there used to be a
Maybe just
waiver,
that.
But here's the
obviously there isn't
If
now.
we
No.
have snow.
Because it will tell you now on there,
That's
If
why I
you- you
suggested
have
29
too many
first
days of
semester
one
and
kind,
31 second.
it will tell you you have failed, your calendar's failed.
See what I'm saying?
And right now, mine comes up that it's failed every time because I haven't got graduation dates filled in.
Okay,
That's
so
the only problem that.
I guess going back to
calendars
it, option A is all I don't hear anyone
Nah.
looking at option A. Option B.
I liked option A.
I think that was the committee.
have. That was the committee's choice.
But the semesters are completely out of whack. You got 84 days first semester and 96 second.
Even
which
if
is
it's
a-
5 days, that's 91, so 5 days for snow, it's still down to 90, 91. and
That's a week's
84.
of
Maybe they'll
instruction,
snow.
which is 2 weeks of instruction at the high school level. I know it doesn't make any difference elementary, I understand that part, but,
Get with the flow.
so
We're good.
that's why I didn't like A.
Well, can we have two different calendars? One's an elementary calendar and one being a high school calendar?
I'm not real sure it matters to
Elementary,
elementary.
we don't care.
They don't care how many days are first semester or how many days are
I
second.
want to know if you can read by the end.
That's
Uh-huh.
You're right.
That's the only way we're gonna solve the problem. Two separate calendars, two different start dates, two ending dates. That'll make everybody happy.
Nothing's gonna make everybody happy.
No, and I mean.
But I was
yeah.
still just a little concerned, Mrs. Knight, with 30 days even across the board. With second semester, if there's snow days and we miss 5 days,
Well, that's never been regulated unless we've had multiple snow days in a row that we had to push the report card periods, but it's still not going to make them even.
Give a call to Preston County and Tucker County, find out Monday, I'd say, or tomorrow. find
Yeah, I
out
mean-
what they do.
I just say, and we obviously can't hold, it, but I mean, my option B is kind of where I'm at.
It's the closest,
Hmm?
it's the closest day-wise, I mean, or.
Yeah, I mean, I'm,
Well, the kids aren't going till the 26th.
Yeah.
That's really
That's
the
But
latest.
the B.
Where's it put your
Oh, I thought-
Yeah, B.
Okay.
August
Yeah.
Like
26th.
graduation.
wait a minute,
That's a
22nd
I have
starts.
this-
Huh?
You have
Okay,
the-
no,
look at that.
well,
I know.
I can't work 5 more days babysitting.
She said amazing.
that's still, I mean, that's.
Now we know.
I get paid
Yeah,
weekly.
a few on
Very
the calendar committee that prefer B.
There was a committee that didn't prefer these.
There was a few,
But
and they
overall,
were
it's-
high school. I mean,
So
there
option
was
A was the
There
calendar
was a
committee,
few
which I
on
like
the
to take,
committee, right, that liked B.
17.
I'd like to take their recommendation. But what's the issue that's holding up calendar A would be the days?
The number, yeah, the number,
Yeah.
Number.
basketball.
You say 86, and what did you say was the first semester?
90,
way on, according to this,
84,
84 to 96.
you know, which is, if you took the snow, it's down to 91.
So could that be
But
moved
still
by moving the semester back?
You just even out the 6 weeks. It won't matter when you start. I don't care when you start. We gotta make Memorial Day graduation, right?
But option A, I mean, when I'm looking at it, option A, the 19th student report, I can live with that. It's just that you're saying the days are out of whack. But
And that was because they liked having that calendar that ended first semester before.
Yeah, but I think that would be
come to
splitting the
Christmas.
difference. If you're not going to get that, then why wouldn't you go with option A and then changing when the semester ends? And that would be, I think I'd get most everyone close to where they wanted to be. A later start, not everyone's going to get everything, so it will end not at this, that would split it up, you know what I'm saying? That would be as close to the working one that we could do if you leave everything intact except for the semester. Meaning the start date I'm good with on A, option A.
What date is that?
Oh, we're all looking at different stuff.
The students would report on August 19th.
And the reason they chose option A
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
semester
Curriculum
exam.
development,
In
August
December.
4th.
Yeah.
I mean, I like option A better now that I look at it than B. I like the later start, obviously, with the 26th, but I'm willing to compromise, but we just need to work out towards the semester. It's not going to work that way.
Sometimes you have some snow days in the
Right.
fall, we just have been fortunate not to have
And
that.
the calendar committee picked A because everything would be done at Christmas. You mean,
Yeah,
they wouldn't be coming back and
That's-
studying over Christmas was
Right.
like the high school kids.
And then coming back to the 2 days.
Mhm.
Prep. and-
But by doing that, and starting with A, you only have 84 days for a semester as opposed to the 96 second. That's way too much.
That's what I'm saying. If you could move that,
Right.
the start date and everything, and the end date would be fine, correct?
You just fix the 6 weeks.
Equal those out. That,
But it may not equal out exactly, 86.
as long as you get close. But that's what I'm saying. I'm okay with everything about that. And taking into consideration, if we can get the days equaled out, the semester equaled out, then I think that's probably our best bet. I think you can do, what I'm saying is no one's gonna get everything,
No,
and the ending the semester at Christmas
and the
is
closest,
the
yes.
low-hanging fruit that can change. I know people want
And
it, but they want a lot of things.
the closest that we can get to that is what I gave you today, option D.
Which is what, meaning what?
Okay, that has everything equaled out, 90 days in each semester. The first semester would end on this January the 10th. So my recommendation would be that we take those 2 PL days from January 2nd and 3rd and
minute.
either move one of those to January the 10th or move both of them, one to the 9th and one to the 10th.
And that would have students starting when,
And
15th?
students,
19.
students would start on the 19th.
Then I'm fine, then, okay, after, and you have to realize, I guess, when you're looking at it, it's hard for us lay people
Yes.
because it's, when you're reading this, it's not easy.
No, it is.
So I'm good, yes,
Semester
option
not
D
going
then
till
would take
January
care of
10th?
it, correct?
Right.
Yeah, but now on calendar
I mean, hell, I thought we was gonna try.
graduation.
Graduation, yeah, graduation can't happen.
Graduation can be the 23rd
Oh, yeah,
on D.
so then I think that
Yes.
takes care of everything.
okay.
Which one was the one you couldn't have, which one was the one you couldn't have?
That's B.
Oh, B, B.
B, throw B away. Yes.
Out, first C out.
Appreciate having
Z and C out.
days
So now we have A and
split and you really could have them. I mean, I know they want them together right
They
there.
really wanted those
But
together.
the only problem with that is if they're not, if they don't separate and then split them, it isn't going to work. But if it's, at least they're getting those 2 days, they're just not
Right.
together. They're still
So they
getting
could come back after the holiday, take the 1 day to prep, get ready for the kids to come back.
And then have to take exams in?
Then they would prepare for exams,
Yes.
do the exams.
Yeah.
Then they would have that other day.
Yeah, right.
To grade.
And do all that. At which, in
They wouldn't
Might
need to
grade
do
that
that.
a little bit.
They wouldn't need to have that prep day on the
I mean, I
second.
kind of think like the exams should be before Christmas.
Yes.
Because
That's what the kids
That's
just
right.
want to study.
That's what.
Yeah.
They didn't want to study it.
Yeah, nobody wants to do anything over Christmas, so I think we should, whatever we do, we should try to make exams before Christmas.
We're back to A.
I don't think that'll,
Back to A.
I don't think that'll, I mean, who's gonna study over Christmas?
Well, you don't study over Christmas. You study that week
After
when
they
you get
come
back.
Not if you change you're talking about having the exams on the third, second, and third.
No, you're on D. Exams would end up being,
We're talking about
Six,
those
seven,
two
eight.
prep, teacher prep days.
talking about the teacher.
You know, the teachers
Yeah,
like
But I
those 2
still, I mean,
days.
if you don't give these kids, I mean, they're coming back a week from after New Year's,
It
Christmas.
takes them 2 weeks to settle back in.
It takes, yeah,
They're
it'll take a
still-
little bit of time to settle back in, I think. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think that kids will want to do it right after.
Work your magic.
How many days would they have?
Cut 4, I don't think we can do.
How many are you talking about that will be taking their exam for semester?
Well, that's gonna be,
Even
that
sure
that should
what-
be
We're
up
not
for
there
discussion.
yet.
That's the other thing. That's the other,
That's
that's a
the
different
thing,
vote.
and we don't
Yeah,
know.
That's what I'm saying
That's what
there
we're
too,
doing.
so at least they have that week.
What exams will even look like.
Well, they're gonna have to look like this calendar if we get there.
That's gonna look like they fit in.
Well, where do we go from here?
Calendar, E,
So I think we're at D.
Yeah.
We're probably,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is D or A, correct?
I can't go with it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when we get down to a split amongst everyone, I'm hearing D and A. What I'm saying, we've got all these calendars, so let's eliminate,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
the starting
yeah,
place. So B and C, we will eliminate. So we'll go A and D, and then,
For Mrs. Knight to look at.
yes.
And
And then
in
when
your
do we have to
spare
approve
time,
this
did
one?
you?
State has to have made one.
Okay, so we've got time. So let's
We'd like to get-
eliminate those two, get you down to two, We're working here.
Okay.
Like that.
and then we have to at some point have.
Because
a
they
public
could
hearing.
return it.
Yes,
But
yes,
that's
I'd like to
public
get
hearing.
it to them in March.
Oh, yeah, you have to
We
put it
have
out
a
for
public
public
hearing.
hearing.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Second.
Yeah.
What if we bring you back the revised?
Yeah, but eliminate
Next
those
meeting.
two, I think is
And
what
add
we're
another
hearing.
one
Now,
next
now you're
meeting.
down to two. Just work off of those.
Okay.
And if you want to revise either one of those two,
Yeah.
And show you.
yes. But don't worry about the two that we are going to eliminate.
Mrs. Knight, I mean, when we say March, is that more like, couldn't it be by February? I mean, we're down to 2 calendars now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we probably-
and
Yeah,
this,
I would
and this
like to
helps
see it.
exactly what you're saying is to let folks know, parents know as soon as possible.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
if,
we'll have to have a
instead of
public
waiting
hearing.
till March, if we get this in February, so maybe if this information could get to us before the next meeting,
Yeah.
so we could,
Look at.
that's part of that Doug Foreman committee and study, and get it back to us and let us try to.
Right, but we can't have 4 or 5 out there and then keep adding.
No,
Let's eliminate the two, go down to those two,
there you go.
and then work out the bugs.
So you're only gonna have
At
3.
least we're making some progress.
Yes.
Now parents will say, yeah, we had Johnny there.
All right, so now, we'll leave it at that, and we will go back,
Thank you, Mr.
since there's no action to be taken on that, and we'll go back to, personnel matters is next, but if there's no objection, because there's an item of legal, or termination of, employment of employee that comes after that, but it's also appearing on the personnel matters, we will take that first, rather, because otherwise it would just be included in personnel matters. So we'll move to item 11 if there's no objection, and do item B, which is termination of employment for employee, and it's before you there under the executive content. Is there a motion on that?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second.
Oh, okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, and that is for the termination of, it's extracurricular?
He's the assistant wrestling coach.
Right. Vladimir Jean-Philippe, that's for termination of his
Wrestling coach.
wrestling contract.
Yeah, wrestling coach.
Moves us back to personnel matters. They're before you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Board member comments, Mr. Tucker.
I said online, but thank you for the opportunity again.
Ms. Smith,
Same thing. I'm good.
Mr. Hope.
Okay, I want to go back to, Mrs. Stubler's contract where, you know, you gave us some information there tonight, but where and when are we going to get, well,
I want people to look at that information and we will set, I need to speak to the other board members and say we can either have a work session and then put it on a following agenda, or we can have a special meeting and take action on it at that point. We're probably better off with a work session. And we can do that on the last Tuesday of this month, if that's okay.
and then if you work something out,
Then we would put it on the. Yeah,
first agenda for,
right.
like I say, my only concern is that right now there's a lot, you know, movements. Last year, there was a bunch of superintendents, you know, jobs that came open. And like I said, I think Mrs. Stutler would be a hot commodity in these other counties, especially.
We couldn't discuss it till after January 1st, and we're only
Right.
on January 16th, so I don't think we're behind the 8 ball here. So if we
Well-
said it, it would still be at least addressing it by the end of January, at least addressing it. So if we want to, we'll set it for that last Tuesday, that's 29th.
an
extra week?
23rd, so.
And it's a work session, so we'll do it.
When?
January 30th.
30th, is
Would
that
be
the
the
last
30th?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
We want to do it at
See
5
that?
o'clock.
See how I picked that up? Because I came on the 23rd and they had 7.
And it will be mostly, yeah, and I only want that as the only item on the agenda, because that will take place, since it's personnel matter, it'll take place mostly in executive session, so I don't want to have a bunch of other items on there, just that specific item as a work session. What time? 5?
Yes, early,
January 30th.
5 o'clock.
because I came on.
And there won't be any action taken out of that, it'll be just purely for discussion purposes that time. All right.
Now, will you be addressing that prior to that meeting with her?
No, we have to discuss it.
We have,
That's the board has to give any sort of direction one way or another. We haven't even discussed anything about a contract, so we'll do it at that meeting, and it'll be, like I said, it's personnel, so it'll be in executive session at that time, and then from that, we'll make whatever determinations.
okay.
Mr. Devon?
I don't have anything other than I would like maybe to speak to you after this.
Okay, I don't have anything either. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now,
I got my fair share in earlier.
Yeah, I know.
all right, who made the motion? I made